these are the notes that I had written about, like, I don't know, whenever we were first starting the podcast.
Back in the day.
Yeah, for Ben and Robin are transitioning. I wrote, like, what's your social transition journey been like? What's your legal transition been like? Documents and stuff. Are all the bioessentialist trans people who say I'm not a woman until I have a vagina actually just rich bitches? Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take charge of the ones that are like Discord people comments?
Sure.
Since I have notes for like the other parts of it. We're doing like a real episode, like a episode.
We'll do our best.
Yeah, we have some of the spooky shit. Since it's not Halloween anymore. Not that I wouldn't have this stuff up anyway. Maybe leave like one skull.
That is a cute one.
It's got butterflies. Butterfly on that guy. All right, well, while this guy's in the frame. Hey, brats, my name is Robin and I'm transitioning.
My name is Ben and I'm transitioning.
And welcome to Ben and Robin are transitioning. The Brat Pod.
The Brat Pod, starring Luffy.
Oh,
Tree eater.
Luffy is trans for this episode.
Good for you, dude.
Limited time only.
Trans trending.
Yeah, live your truth, bud. So this time we want to talk about just transition in general. Like, there's a lot of aspects to it. Like the social part, the medical part, the legal part. There's so much that goes into it. We've also gotten a lot of feedback from our Discord besties, which we're going to try to make more of a regular thing because it's been really good. We did that for our Fears episode and got so much good stuff out of it. So, like, yeah, get on that Discord if you're not already, because we're going to keep we're going to keep outsourcing all of our friends to write episodes.
Yes, please write all of our episodes.
Yeah. It's really nice, though, because we're not, like, logistically able to have a guest with us every episode because, like, yeah, that's not going to be possible for us. We're not, like, full-time professional podcasters. Thanks to, like, the Discord and our comments sections and everything, like, we're able to kind of have different trans voices present.
Speaking of which, should I share a trans moment of joy from our Discord?
Yeah, hit me with a moment of joy.
So Chloe shared at nearly midnight last night, right around midnight. So very validating thing at work happened. Apparently nobody besides my supervisors who can see my dead name in the system know I'm trans. Was talking to my manager about it and a couple of coworkers, and the coworkers were shocked when they found out I wasn't a cis woman. Thought I'd share. LOL goes to show you that you may pass more than you think you do. From Chloe from the Trans Safe Space Pod.
Yay. That's cute. It's also funny that she, like, accidentally came out to people.
Happens.
Didn't see that coming. Yeah,
it exactly. Happens. And I think that is probably very true that, like, we notice what we're insecure about way more than anyone else would notice. Speaking of insecure, the least insecure woman, Nami, has entered the chat, and now she is leaving.
Okay.
I don't know if she even went on camera once, but she just came in here, did a little loop and left.
Yeah, she gave us a little turn.
On the catwalk.
On the catwalk. She likes to shake her fuzzy tush on the catwalk. We have, over the course of this podcast, which is a cool thing to be able to say, because we've recorded like 20 of these now, probably more. But over the course of the podcast, we've like talked about our different transition journeys. And we've only been doing this a few months now, but like I feel like we've both had a lot of major changes and everything. So, like, let's just say, in general, Ben, what's your transition journey been like so far? Big question, I know, but...
A lot of social transition and a very little amount of medical transition that hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah,
but it's mostly been social.
Yeah, and for, like, most of this podcast so far, like, for at least the first 10 episodes, I can say there's a lot of Ben saying, like, I'm not on T yet, I'm not on T yet. A lot of, like, and we'll get more into this in this specific episode, but you've had to go through so much, like, gatekeeping, just getting on the HRT to begin with.
Yep, a lot. 6 years worth.
Yeah. And for me, like, you had a very long period of just social transition before any like medical steps were involved at all. For me, sort of did both at the same time or almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of my pre-transition stuff was done over a super long period of time, just like talking with my partner about things and working through them. By the time I came out to the larger world, I was kind of just like ready to go.
Yeah.
I kind of came out that door not just doing the social transition, but changing all my documents, it's the legal aspect, finding an endocrinologist so I could get on hormones. That's my medical aspect. So, well, first of all, let's just talk about the idea of social transition to begin with.
I feel like to a certain extent you had a little bit socially transitioned before you were actually out. Like, you had long hair. Not that long hair is inherently gendered, but like you'd laid down some foundation, even though you never said anything about it. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah. I was definitely living in like an androgynous, non-binary adjacent space.
Without ever putting a name on it.
Yeah. And I think people who spent a lot of time around me, just like, I would think most people would at least get some queer vibes. I know you're an exception as like a fellow trans person, but I know you said the first time we met, like
queer vibes for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, social transition is pretty typical of a first step for a lot of people, especially if you are a minor. That might be your only option. Like there's certain medical aspects that can happen if you're a minor, but that would just basically be puberty blockers, which isn't so much a medical transition, but it's like a preventative measure for you to not go through the wrong puberty.
You're preventing a natural transition, essentially.
Yeah.
You're unnatural.
What your body thinks is natural, but what your mind knows is not. It's medical intervention, but I wouldn't consider puberty blockers medical transition. But I'm sure a lot of people would think of it as a transition step.
Yeah. It's kind of more like a bookmark or a placeholder.
Yeah. Because I think that's a misconception a lot of cis people have is kids aren't transitioning. Like not the way that the news wants you to think they're transitioning. It's pretty much just, I want to dress like this, I want to wear my hair like this, and I want you to call me this. That's transition when you're a kid for the most part.
I think in an ideal world where we all had healthy home lives and a healthy society around us, I think there would be like a much longer social transition phase because like sometimes I just imagine that alternate scenario in my mind about like if I had come out as a child and had a different reaction from family and the people around me. I think there would have been like a much longer, just kind of like a safe space to experiment and like learn who I was.
Do you ever wonder what your name would have been if you would have been able to come out when you were 5?
Yeah.
Because like I feel like your name would be different. I feel like my name would be different if I picked it when I was 5.
If we have kids, should we change our surname to Robinson?
There's some Scandinavian countries where the last name, like if your dad is Sven, your last name is Svensson. Or if your mom's name is like Freya, your last name would be Freya's daughter if you're a girl.
Like that.
Yeah. Dottir. Yeah. It's cool.
I always like the name Freya, and that's a name that I've used a lot for like video game characters. But then like a friend of mine named her dog Freya. I was like, well, it'd be weird to, it's like right before transitioning. I was like, well, I'm going to just scratch that one off the list because that would be weird.
That's a weird thing about names is like you can know your whole life you want to name your kid something, but then like your cousin has a kid a week before and picks your name, then you can't pick your name anymore.
I think a lot of times like in an ideal world, if I grew up like in a safe place, in a safe family with parents who were like accepting of the trans thing.
The trans thing.
Yeah. And kind of like how things would have played out for me. It's interesting because I grew up in like the late 80s and the 90s. And like I had no exposure to trans people other than, you know, like you, like the Jerry Springers. And so I didn't have any like exposure to trans people at all. But like now, maybe it's just the circles that I run into, but I have been able to see more accepting parents who are like people from our general age group. Like there's a podcaster, Jesse Thorne from Maximum Fun. So I listened to some of his podcasts for years. I was listening to him before he had kids. And so was kind of like on that journey. One of his kids was, I think, like probably the same age I was when I first like figured out I was trans. She came out to her dad. First of all, he was like, I have a lot of regrets now because I was trying to like really get her into like baseball and all this like boy stuff. And I feel like I was like pushing a gender identity on her. But so he had like a little bit of parent guilt there,
which is sad
like,
but cute.
Exactly. It's sad but cute. But like it was really cool because he was able to like turn on a dime and be like so supportive. And Jesse and Teresa are the parents. Their whole attitude as the parents were, we're going to just provide a space for you to explore yourself. Just you let us know what you need, where you're feeling at the moment, like what you want us to call you. I believe she like chose her own name and started going by like she, her pronouns. It was always a thing like, we're going to believe our child and like let her explore and see what's authentic. It's not like we're giving medical interventions to this 5-year-old, you know. They had that time, like a lot of time, to be in that social transition phase and just have that safe space, like where she's able to figure out who she was. And like, it's entirely possible that that kid, like a kid in that situation, may take the opportunity to explore, and maybe a couple years later or a couple months later or whatever it is, maybe like, no, actually, I think I'm not a girl, or like maybe I'm non-binary, or like maybe I am just a boy, but I'm like into dresses or whatever, you know, like there's a lot of options there that if you had that safe space to explore as a kid, I think you just have a much better space to be able to explore who you are as a person before you're like thrown out into the world as an adult and have to like, yeah.
And then by the time you really know what the medical options are, you might be more prepared to know what feels right for you rather than figuring it all out at once. And then it's like, do I want this surgery? Do I want that surgery? And like, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of the alarmism creating all this panic about kids transitioning or whatever, they're all the people who are like, this came out of nowhere, you know?
People like my mother.
Yes, there were no signs to begin with. But if that were true, and I usually doubt that it's true, I think they were just either denying or just not paying attention to their kids and their journey. I think if you had that safe space with your kid, this could have been a dialogue that you were having for like a decade or whatever. Like everybody's journey is different. Like some people figure it out as an adult and some people like as a little kid. Who knows how things would have been like for you if you felt more safe, like as a kid. Like you kind of figured yourself out when you were 27, but you also like had very set, like you had a strong understanding, even if you didn't know that this was like how things were, but of how your parents felt about gender.
Yep. I think the Jesse Thorne feeling bad about like wanting his kid to be into baseball is so funny to me though, because there's plenty of like cis girls who like baseball. There's plenty of cis boys who don't like baseball. Like sometimes you just want your kid to get into something and you don't have to assign that much gender to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really
reaction.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah. So like for my own journey, all of the aspects of my transition kind of like happened in tandem for the most part. Like once I was able to and ready to come out to everybody, like the first thing I did, like the way that I came out to most people, the way that I officially came out as like I'm a like binary trans woman, you know, wasn't like, hey, by the way, I'm a woman, I'm transitioning or whatever. It was like, oh, by the way, I just legally changed my name because I like had been thinking about all of this stuff for years. And like preparing. And once I had that opportunity or once I was in that space,
you were ready.
I was ready to go. I was ready to just like Leroy Jenkins the transition. And so like I immediately got on changing all my legal documents. Most of my like one-on-one coming out with people was just like, oh, my name is Robin now. And they're like, are you trans? I'm like, yeah. Okay, cool. But in a pretty quick period of time, started the process at least with changing all my documents, found an endocrinologist and started taking hormones. Then for you, it was a much more extended period until you're able to get to the medical aspects of things anyway.
Yeah. Like I came out, changed my name like within a month, changed my pronouns again, like because I came out as they, them, and then came out again as a trans man. Then started talking about hormones, got into a program. Then my mom made me move back home. So I had to leave that program and then asked a different doctor. And it was like, well, maybe if we do XYZ first, you can go on. And then I had to move and then try another doctor. Same, like maybe if you can get this, that, or the other lab in this range, we could start. And then I had to move again. And like it just kept going and going and going until eventually it was like, we'll get you started and we'll figure out how to get all your labs where they need to be while you're already on it. And I was like, thank you. Because like after a certain point, it just felt like they didn't want me on it, not that they actually wanted my labs in a certain range. Like it felt like the goalpost kept moving. Because like I live in any one place for 2 to 3 years. So it's not like I didn't still want it over those 2 years, but it was just like within those 2 years, it didn't get good enough for them. And it just doesn't feel like they were actually looking out for me. It felt like they were trying to avoid having more complicated stuff to do.
Yeah. From what I've heard of your story, it very much sounds like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just gatekeeping.
Just gatekeeping, but they probably don't even see it that way because they think they're somehow special or different. But it's like when all of you are doing the same thing, you're not special or different.
We're just being safe.
You're not.
Just being safe.
And it was so nice when my current doctor was like, it seems like a lot of your mental health issues are wrapped up in your lack of HRT. Let's see how much of that we can fix.
Yeah.
Which is great. But
because he wasn't a ding dong.
He's not a ding dong. He does like dogs, which sounds like dong, but it's not.
Some dogs have dongs.
Some dogs do have dongs. Some dogs got an entire fucking hog. That was a Dropout reference. If anyone out there likes Jacob Wysocki, you're right.
Dogs with hogs.
Dogs with hogs. Fucking slanging hog.
These hogs are barking.
But yeah, some people are able to just get in there and get HRT. Some people aren't. Just because you can't get it, if you can't, doesn't mean you aren't trans. And some people act like it does make that the case, and they're wrong. They're just people who have no empathy.
Yeah.
No empathy.
No empathy. This is a rant that I've gone on many, many times and will in perpetuity. But like just the way that everybody's transition looks different. There's aspects of it that are like just your personal choice, what your personal transition goals are, which we'll get into later in the episode. But then there's such a huge aspect of inequality and gatekeeping that is involved in it that I don't think even most cis people realize this. It's so silly hearing these TERFs on the news talk about how like they're just throwing hormones at these kids. And then like my friend here has been trying to get on T for almost a decade or whatever.
Yeah.
And like
there's no way that both things are true.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not. So the default is for sure gatekeeping and the economic aspect of it too. Like, don't even get me started on Caitlyn Jenner. This like rich trans person comes out and already has like every surgery that is available to a trans woman.
She'd already had gender affirming surgery like decades before she even came out.
Right. Like if you're rich and privileged,
must be nice.
Situation must be nice.
If you have the kind of money where you can afford to go to a specialist endocrinologist who works with trans people all the time, of course you're going to have an easier time going on hormones. But how much is that appointment costing?
Yeah.
Like I had to go through primary care providers because that's what my insurance covers. And the primary care providers weren't equipped to deal with it, but I could not go anywhere better unless I had money, and I didn't have money. I still don't have money.
When I talked to my primary care provider about it, she was like very supportive and everything, but she was like, honestly, I don't know what you do. Like, this has never come up for me before.
And you don't want to be the person who's teaching your doctor.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guinea pig.
Seriously. Yeah. And she literally said to me, like, if you find somebody, let me know so I know like who to refer people to in the future, as like, or you can figure it out as you're a medical professional.
Yeah, like email your network.
Seriously. Definitely, like a lot of our trans friends, their medical transition has been going way slower than they would like it to, just because of financial reasons and like just not having a lot of money, especially since trans people don't tend to be like wealthy, you know?
And it tends to be harder for us to find careers that have really good benefits. Even if you have the benefits, like, are you in the type of job that gives you the kind of leave that you need to use those benefits? Like, I have a friend who's a trans woman who works in a grocery store. And it's like, okay, having health insurance is fine, but she's like the overnight manager. So she has to be at work when everyone else is asleep, and she needs to be asleep when the doctor's offices are open.
Yeah.
So, like, how is she supposed to go about it? And a lot of times, trans people end up with like the weirder hours because sometimes it's the managers doing that, but sometimes it's like we don't want to be out amongst the customers because of things that we've talked about in the fears episode.
Yeah.
And so it can be a real struggle for a lot of reasons. And then, like, even if you want to medically transition, there's disabilities that make it so you can't. Like for trans masks, if there's certain blood clotting things that can make it so you can't go on T, there's disabilities that involve like hypermobility. And I think estrogen can increase mobility. That might be a complication.
Yeah. And there's any number of excuses that a doctor can use if they do just want to gatekeep it.
Sometimes there's actual reasons, though.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gatekeeping, but I feel like there's like a 0.5% amount of people who hormones could actually really fuck with their shit. What I'm saying is it's okay if people can't ever access hormones. They're still trans.
Yes, you're still trans. You're still valid. I know, like, some of our Discord friends have dealt with a lot of the stuff. Do you want to share any examples?
Well, Ashley was talking about how her social transition is slower than she'd like because of how expensive everything is. So, like, we were talking about the expensive medical transition, but jeans are expensive. And you had brought up, even if you're thrifting, like, getting an entirely new wardrobe is expensive.
Yeah.
Inclusive haircuts tend to be more expensive. The cost of living is going up. Even if you're making a decent wage, more of your wage is going towards your rent, so that's less money for clothes. Inza had said that they've been in a barely keeping up with the bills and random massive expensive state for 6 years, and then they have forced disability retirement coming up, which is going to cut back income even further.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to afford shit that makes you feel good if you can't even afford to be alive?
Or even just stuff that helps you like present as your real gender, which like will help with you not getting misgendered as much, you know.
And it would be nice if it didn't bother us to get misgendered, but like that's not where a lot of us are. And so like you've got to actually prioritize that.
For sure, yeah. Because it's not just like an aesthetic choice. Like it's also a matter of being perceived properly. So I was applying for jobs when I was still early in my transition. I had to get just like nice enough clothes to interview in. I mean, my former clothes didn't like really fit me anymore to begin with, but also like
getting that ass.
Yeah. But like, yeah, exactly. But also like, can you imagine like I'm otherwise presenting as a woman, like in a like go in a men's suit or something like that.
Some
like
khakis and a polo.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to like buy clothes to interview for these jobs, none of which I got anyway. Like that can be a whole episode in the future. Just trying to get a job to get that money that you need for transitioning. And there's like so much trouble finding employment as a trans person.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's expensive to get a job.
It really is, yeah.
Like, there's a reason why this is such a tangent, but like shitty people are always looking at people that are unhoused and being like, why don't you just go get a job?
Speaking of Caitlyn Jenner.
Right? How are you supposed to just go get a job if you don't have anywhere to shower?
Yeah. Right.
Like, how
think through it for like 5 seconds.
You can't just go get a job if you've been on the streets for weeks. You need access to certain clothes, hygiene, rest in order to even perform in an interview. So yeah, it is expensive to get a job, and it's expensive to start over. And when you're trans, you can't just keep using the same old stuff because it literally doesn't fit and emotionally doesn't fit.
One thing that we were talking about, you mentioned a moment ago, was like you can thrift stuff and find like cheaper means of buying clothing. But if you think about like as an adult person, like how many clothes you actually have or need to have just for like a bare minimum of like being able to live and not do laundry like every single day.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of clothes, even just to like get by in normal life. And then especially if you do manage to get a job where you have to like wear work clothes, that's an additional wardrobe that you have to buy. Like it's a lot of clothes. So even if you're able to get them for like very cheap, which like
those stores aren't that cheap anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But even if you could get everything cheap, like that's an entire wardrobe that you have to buy.
Yep.
If you're a trans woman, makeup, so expensive. And again, even if you get like the cheap stuff, there's a lot of makeup that goes into doing your makeup, and like it adds up so fast.
And if you still have like facial hair that you have to cover, then that's like color correction, and like it's not just the amount of makeup that a cis woman might expect to wear, because you've got other things you've got to deal with in order to feel okay in your skin.
Yeah. Another thing that we were talking about, just like finding your style to begin with.
Yep.
And like it's hard to find your style without buying clothes. I think if you're like younger, especially if you're like a cis girl, you have some ability to like borrow your friend's clothes or your sister's clothes and like try different stuff out. But if you're like an adult trans person and you don't have a lot of money, actually finding what you like to wear and what your personal style is like really hard to do, because like I guess you can go to a store and try a lot of different stuff on.
But until you've spent a day in an outfit, you don't know if it's comfy. Like
exactly.
You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you've never had to figure it out before. Like
you're going to get chafing in places you didn't know could get chafed when you're starting to find your style.
Yes.
There's new seams and just clothing is cut completely differently. Even though it's only gendered if you're a little bitch about it. It's a lot of trial and error to find clothes that really make you feel good and look good. And you could like how it looks and hate how it feels.
Yeah.
But you won't know that until you've already bought it. And by the time you know you don't like how it feels, it's too late to return it.
Yeah. And your body changes if you're medically transitioning too. If you're not just doing the social thing, your body is going to change, and you don't have a way to really predict when and how much it's going to change. We were talking about this off air.
I'm living through this right now.
Exactly.
I want more shirts, but I don't know how much my shoulders are going to get bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go online and you can look at like what are the general time frames for it, but it's always like 2 to 6 months this, 9 to 18 months that. It's like you don't know, and you don't know how much.
Yep.
So like
and my shoulders might not even change, and I might be worried for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. And then like with trans femme people, even going by like your family genetics, like you don't know how much chest growth you're going to experience, and you really don't know when it's going to happen.
Nope.
So like I've had to buy several sets of bras because I got lucky and was able to find good sales and everything like at the times that I had to do it. But it's still like a lot of money, even if you get it cheap.
Bras are so expensive.
Yes, especially if you have to get like specific fit and everything, which it's a thing for a lot of trans women, is the whole difficulty of finding something.
Rib cage, cup size, all that.
All of those things, yeah. But anyway, like I had to replace my bras like very quickly in a short period of time because like I went a long time without very much growth. And then like I experienced a growth spurt. And so like I had to get new bras for that. And then like I thought I had plateaued. And then like a month or two later, like things progressed a lot faster than I was thinking and a lot more than I expected. And I was like, it's time to go back to the store. None of these fit me now.
They've got a mind of their own.
Yeah. But like you don't know when it's going to happen or how much it's going to happen. It wasn't what I was expecting or when I was expecting it.
And it's always going to be like, okay, I think I'm done now. I'm going to get 3. And then like a week later, they don't even, it's the worst. Boobs are annoying. They're cool, but they're annoying.
Boobs be boobing.
I guess I would think they're annoying, wouldn't I?
You would, yeah.
They're just in the way.
A lot of our friends want to be cyborgs and have removable boobs.
Right? Just
especially
pass them around.
Especially our non-binary friends. Like sometimes you want them and sometimes you don't. I always want them, but like I definitely have friends who are like, some days I want a booba and some days I don't want a booba.
I don't know what it's like to be comfortable laying down on your stomach anymore. And I would love to know what that's like.
One day.
Someday, maybe.
I dreamed a dream of no boobs.
That's me.
Yeah.
Les Miserables boobies.
Yeah.
One thing Myrtle brought up that I know that you agree with is that there's huge difference in political beliefs amongst trans people if they're poor versus not poor, if they're closeted versus out, and if they are someone who wants HRT or doesn't. And it's something I brought up in the Project 2025 episode and maybe other ones. Like, you need to be voting as if you're thinking of the person with the least amount of privilege. So like trans people need to be supporting people with the least amount of access.
Yeah. Like I was saying in that like previous rant, there's like a subset of trans people online who are like, I guess you call them like the trans medicalists, who are like, you're only really trans if you've had bottom surgery or if you're on hormones, or everybody has their own like different requirement for what it's like being really trans. And you have like trans people gatekeeping transness from other people. As like, just statistically speaking, how many of those people aren't like relatively wealthy white people? Like it's like your whole perspective on that changes if you just have easy access to resources and like are in a place and environment with very little gatekeeping. You're like, I don't know why it's such a big deal. I just like told my doctor or my parents or whoever, I just told people I was trans and they're like, okay, here's what you do. Here's your pills. Just like go to this doctor and you're good, whatever it is, you know. Like,
I don't know anyone.
Default experience.
I don't know anyone in real life that actually had an experience like that.
Me neither. And I almost wish I did because it sounds like they have money and I want some of their money.
Right? But as last time I checked, there is no president of transness.
No.
There is no one that says who is or isn't trans enough. And everyone has a different definition. But mine is, you're trans if you say you're trans. The end.
Yeah, exactly. And like I feel like some of these people also forget that everybody goes through an awkward transition stage. It's not like one day you woke up and you came out and then you were like fully passing as like whatever gender, you know. It's like everybody goes through that. Even if you have all the money in the world, everybody goes through a really awkward stage.
There's that awkward 14-year-old stage, no matter how old you are.
Like we all transition. Every cis people transition too. It's called regular puberty.
Yeah.
But like we all go through that transitional state, and like some people just get to this point of like passing privilege or whatever and just immediately forget their past and are like, I don't know why it's so difficult for you or whatever.
I don't think that'll ever be us, but I really hope not. Because like I remember growing up and like looking at my parents and being like, it's like they forgot what it was like to be a kid.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of people do forget what it was like to be a kid. I don't think I've ever forgotten what it was like to be a kid, and I don't want to forget what it was like to go through some bullshit. Because you have to remember that to help other people not go through that bullshit.
Well, I fully intend on being a trans goddess and just fully abusing my passing privilege.
Okay.
And lording it over everybody.
And I'll be trying to keep you humble in the background.
This Discord's going to get so toxic.
It's going to be
Ben's like encouraging everybody. I'm like, none of you are trans. Get the hell out of here.
Get out.
We are quite the opposite of that, though. Our like friends are such a wide spectrum, from like more binary people to agender people to like everything in between, and which is really nice.
Just gonna grow.
Yeah, it is gonna grow
like a little baby into a beautiful trans adult.
What up, you trans babies?
Speaking of maximum fun.
Yeah.
If you don't like the McElroys, get out. I hope there's less gatekeeping in the future. I hope all the trans medicalists and like the thing about these gatekeepers are, they're more obsessed with the genitals than anyone. And I don't understand why we gotta be obsessed with anyone's genitals.
Yeah, seriously.
Because I feel like a lot of trans people are like, why are you so worried about what's in my pants? But then like these trans people are just doing it times 10, being extra worried about what's in your pants. We don't need to be worried about what's in anybody's pants. Yeah.
I don't get it. Just get bottom surgery already. It's no big deal.
I don't even care what's in my own pants. But yeah, just get bottom surgery. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, you obviously have the like health care that'll pay for it. No big deal. Time off of work, not a big deal at all. Like, I'm sure your employer would just be like, sure, take a month off to recover. No big deal. You're okay. Yeah. Just go do your trans thing and just have money and a job when you come back. No big deal.
The last place I lived was an apartment on the 4th floor with no elevator. And if I would have needed any kind of surgery while I lived there, I wouldn't have been able to go up to my apartment. Like, I would not have been able to go sleep in my own bed. That terrifies me. And like, there's people that's real life.
Yeah.
All the time that they can't just move like I just did. And yeah, surgery is not easy. It's not easy to recover.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much that we're not getting into and can't get into because, like, we are very aware that we are two white Americans. We're not rich, but by global standards, probably like
we have a lot of privilege.
Yeah. We have a lot of privilege. There's a lot of experiences that we haven't had and that aren't even on our radar, you know, which is a lot of why we are trying to get people like in our community to help share stories, either as guests or just like commenters, like on the Discord and the comment section and everything. Like, there's so much that we've learned through making friends that we get to learn from all these people with different experiences. And then, like, when we're talking to somebody else, especially like a brand new, like, baby trans person, people will bring stuff up that they're uniquely experiencing with their transitions. And we're able to be like, oh, yeah, we actually interviewed this person who talked about that thing. Or like, we have a couple friends who have been learning a lot that's been helpful for their own transitions as we're doing these episodes. And like, we're not actively trying to get on here and teach people or whatever. I'm like, we're just like kind of telling stories and talking about stuff that's happened to us. And like, the fact that people are learning a lot from that, I think is very telling, because just like hearing other people's stories and perspectives and things they've gone through is like huge.
It is huge. It is very meaningful that people are learning from us, and we're not really, this is not a teaching show. This is a talking show. But you gotta learn something somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Just makes me sad for how much of a drought there is for accessible information.
Yeah. And like, honestly, that's been one of our primary missions from the beginning, is just like being able to provide resources in a community like without any gatekeeping at all. Because like I've listened to a lot of like really good trans podcasts over the years, which a lot of them have good online communities, but it's like if you're a Patreon subscriber or there's some kind of paywall or other kind of gatekeeping. And like, I don't want to be a trans person gatekeeping things from other trans people.
Nope.
Not that there's not reasons for it. Like people got to get paid too and like be able to support their podcast or whatever the situation is. But I feel like that is a basic minimum thing that people need to be able to find.
Yep.
Without having to pay somebody with resources that they don't have because they're in this situation. Like if you're the person who is experiencing the bad end of economic inequality, what are you going to go like pay to make trans friends? Like that's insane.
No. It is too bad we can't have like one secret trans password that only trans people knew, like the CAPTCHA, like press all the motorcycles in this picture to know you're not a computer. But we need that to know you're trans. And then we wouldn't need to gatekeep because everyone would already have the key.
Exactly.
But no, we're not going to gatekeep.
It's like half of my brain is made up with like Simpsons references, as we've discussed. But like there's a Simpsons episode where Homer ends up in like a Freemasons type of secret society called the Stonecutters, and they all have like their special ring. And like he realizes once he joins that you can use the ring to open all these secret doors and stuff. Like he's stuck in traffic and like a secret tunnel opens up.
Just for
like
stonecutters.
Yeah, exactly. So that for trans people.
We need that.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way that if you were trans, you could just get in to anywhere that has trans resources. It is rude that they're putting anything behind paywalls.
Yes.
I'm scared we're going to get so big someday we're going to have to figure out a way to streamline everything. I hope we don't get that big. Unless you can quit your job and do this full time, and then we should.
Yeah, exactly. Buy some stickers.
Buy some stickers we haven't made.
I would like to, though, like, it would be cool to get to a place where like we're at least getting a little bit of passive monetization off YouTube or whatever. So I can like, I would be happy to cut back a little bit of work hours to be able to put more time into this because like this isn't my primary job, but I have gotten so much out of doing this and it's been like an amazing experience. But yeah, and specifically on the topic of transitioning, Ben and I and some of our friends have put a bunch of resources on transhopeunited.com. So like if you live in the US, there's a website on there that will tell you for any place in the United States you live, what name change documents you need, how to get them and everything. Like when I was doing the legal aspect of my transition, there's so many like documents that you need to fill out and it's not clear like what you need to do if you're just kind of like going off government websites.
Yeah.
And like this website had the PDFs on there to just like print out.
It's transequality.org.
It was Center for Trans Equality. They merged with somebody else. So I don't know if the link is this. But there is a like a live link on there that's up to date. There's a lot of resources.
There's resources for like trans feminine medical transition. There's resources for trans affirming haircuts, resources for trauma therapy, YouTube channels.
Yeah. And as we are able to like build our community, then we have more resources in the form of other trans people who have resources that we hadn't heard about. Because there's always like, we'll be having a conversation about something transition related. And somebody would be like, oh, just go to this website. There's people who do such and such. Like, yeah. So yeah, get on there.
Get on there. No matter where you are in your transition, you are trans enough. No matter where you're going to go in your transition, you're still trans enough.
Yes.
Always still trans enough.
Yes.
Unless you're not trans, in which case you're not trans.
Or are you?
Or are you? Trans agenda.
I don't know. Why are you listening to this? Why are you listening to episode 29 or something of Trans Podcast? You're trans.
I don't know if you need to hear this, but if you ever think more than once in a week about what it would be like to be the opposite sex, You might be trans.
You might be trans if...
You don't question your gender unless you've got a reason to, right?
I just had a good idea. I need somebody to drag king as like a Jeff Foxworthy type character and do like the
You might be
whole
trans
like,
if.
you might be trans if. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Somebody out there who wants to drag king, get like a pretty dope mustache. Your best like redneck accent. It is demanded of the trans goddess of BRAT.
Let's do that for Halloween this year.
Yeah. Yes. It's going to be good at Halloween. Ben is going to be Jeff Foxworthy.
We'll see.
Yeah. Scrap all your plans.
I'm just writing, you might be trans if.
You might be trans if.
You might be non-binary if you named yourself after an inanimate object from nature.
I was going to say a force of nature.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tempest.
I used to know a kid whose literal first name is Hurricane. He went by Kane, like Raising Canes.
Our friend Augie would know this because we used to work together back in the day, but there was just like a random work conversation where I was trying to come up with a name for a non-binary cat. And we were brainstorming, trying to think of it. And I realized I was like, any like non-binary name could be a good cat name, and any good cat name could be a good non-binary name.
I'd pick the name Bucket for my non-binary cat. Yep.
That's amazing.
I've been wanting to name a cat Bucket for ages, but Chris named Mocha. Or else she could have been Bucket.
Bucket.
I don't know. Mocha's a good name.
Oh, my, what's the name of the ADHD app that you sent me? Finch. Yeah. It's like, executive functioning app or whatever. But you get like a pet bird when you sign into it. And there's like a default name, but they're like, change the name if you want to change it. But my bird's default name was Pancake. I was like, that's incredible. And that stays.
Mine is Bean.
Yeah. That's cute.
He's in Tokyo right now.
Bean's in Tokyo.
Yeah. He'll be back in 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Is he edamame?
No, he's a bird.
But he's the Tokyo bean.
That's fair. He's not, though.
It's a soybean.
Natto is like fermented bean sprouts that I've never tried, but it's a common breakfast in Japan, and everyone's like, you're going to hate it whenever someone tries it.
It's also like a common anime trope that like somebody's like eating natto and everybody else is like, that's disgusting. And there's like stink lines coming off of it. Yeah.
I would eat it. I would try it.
I would try it. Yeah, I would absolutely try it.
That might be my new favorite breakfast.
Did our friend Matt make you try the 1,000-year egg ever? No,
he has not made me try a 1,000-year egg. He is getting me a stand. Well, he has a stand mixer he got at a thrift store that he's rehabbing, and I want it.
Nice. It's amazing.
Shout out to my thrift dad.
Yeah. We need to get him to thrift trans people clothes.
He found trans tape yesterday thrifting.
Really?
Yeah, for like $2.99.
Wild.
And then a Progress Pride flag in the same store.
Wow.
And I'm like,
he's so good.
Did that person get top surgery and decide to pay it forward? Is that why we have trans tape? Yeah, it was $2.99 for a box of trans tape.
Wow. Wild.
Trans tape at the thrift store.
Way to go, Matt.
And he said, you wonder how it ends up here sometimes. The things we do.
The things we do.
So fun for our listeners. He sent me this today. It's a gorilla slide with slides for titties. It's a gorilla with titty slides. I love the random shit people send me sometimes.
So amazing. Well, I think that we both have probably fully transitioned now. We've arrived.
We're all done. We got the surgery.
Yeah. We got the surgery. You know, the surgery?
The surgery.
We're all aware of the surgery, right?
It's just it's the only one that there is. There's only one surgery, and it's for everyone. Everyone gets the same one, and there's only one.
You have to have your secret trans password. And then it's like, there's a discount code for getting the surgery.
Yep, for the surgery. The one and only. I will never tell what it is. If you don't know, then you're not really trans.
Yeah. Just type in the discount code BRATPOD on thesurgery.com. I don't know if I'm going to say that because whatever thesurgery.com is probably not good.
Let's find out. The
This is some hot content right now.
surgery.com.
It's a surgery.com.
Cherishdomains.com. Specialist service on domain names.
Can we own the surgery.com?
If you have any questions, contact us.
This is an open domain for the surgery.
It says cherishdomains.com. It's an internet-based provider of specialized domain services. We're a small internet-based consultancy firm dedicated to providing a personal service to a limited portfolio of private clients.
Internet safe space.
Let's buy the surgery.com.
Surgery.com.
Oh,
that's fine.
If you haven't had the surgery, you're not really trans.
Yeah.
Wow, we've really changed our tune.
Look at how quickly we got red pilled.
We did it.
We radicalized ourselves. It's fun. That's what the internet is for, people.
I need to draw the cool S some more.
Cool ass.
I can't be trusted with paper and a pen.
All right. Well, it's about the time that we sign off so Ben can spend some time dissociating and drawing cool S's.
Yeah.
On my super trans Hello Kitty notebook that we use to write episode stuff.
Or I just draw the weird S. The weird S.
Oh, it's a weird S. It's a trans S. Not that trans people are weird, but these trans people are weird.
I'm weird and trans.
Yeah. That's our vibe. And it's a winning vibe. Until next time, my name is Robin and I'm trans.
My name is Ben and I'm trans.
Check you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. It's trash day again.
Why do we always record on trash day?
I don't know. There's so many trash days.
This trash truck takes a long time.
Uh-huh. There's a lot of houses around here. A lot of trash. A lot
Put
of
me in
trashy
there.
people. Yeah. Put me where I belong. I want to be where the trash is.
I want to be covered in a trash can. This is such a trans notebook.
That's so trans.
Blue and pink and white.
Uh-huh. Just Sanrio-fied.
San Queero.
Hey. Hey, queers. My name is Robin and I'm gay.
Hey, queers. My name is Ben and I'm dead inside today.
Aw. You bet. He's dead inside.
I'm
Ben
dead,
dead inside. Ben dead.
I'm dead inside today and I don't
My brain has died.
don't know why.
Weird.
Queer.
Queer. It says queer. This episode brought to you by the letter cool S.
We got the cool S.
That's a pretty fast cool S, yeah. Now it says queers with the cool S. Queers with the cool S.
Okay. Where were we?
So cool. I have no fucking idea. I believe we were talking about transitioning.
I believe we were before the trash
try-
truck came.